Creative Matrix to scale.
We did was deploy the Creative Matrix framework and actually start to understand like, well, what features of these ads are working across the board, not just like one piece of creative. Because the problem I've got, Dane, is I'm not very creative. I'm great at data, but you give me an input of creative and I can track it, and over time I will win because I can just incrementally optimize towards the stuff that's performing better at each part of the funnel versus needing to be a creative genius. I can just dial in on the metrics. So it's kind of been my response to not having like a huge creative brain on knowing what's going to work on instinct and more leveraging data. So yeah, it's definitely something we did do, is kind of dial in their creative matrix. And there was a couple of types of ads that crushed. They're not as effective anymore, but just for example, like we discovered that there was a type of ad we call models on repeat, where you put the same model in an outfit and you kind of duplicate them in the image. So it's the same person 3 times. And that worked really well. I think it like screws with people's heads because they're not used to seeing group photos with the same person. There's just those little hacks you kind of find, or those like glitches in the matrix you kind of discover. But you know, those windows close, and it's really about having a process of understanding what that current incremental performance is in an account. And yeah, so
dude, I would say you're wildly creative. You know, in my opinion, you know, you can be a numbers guy, but you can still be really creative about how to look at numbers.
Yeah.
Right. Because people can fixate on, like, they can get stuck. And I think to me, creativity is allowing yourself to get unstuck and look at variables and then kind of trust your gut and your intuition, but implementing something that hasn't really been done before in a new way. Like, I think that's kind of how I look at creative. And I think you're smashing that.
Very generous, Dane. I appreciate it.
And for you as an entrepreneur, man, like how do you define yourself and what you really bring to the equation when you work with these people? Because I understand that you've built your own e-commerce businesses, and you've done 4 of which that have, you know, smashed through 7 figures. So you've done it yourself.